The hearing of the violence against the Sikhs in the United States.
I'm Avni Bawa,
And what brings you here today?
support for our community.
And why is it important to be here in person for you?
To learn more so that we can help others and so we can show our support as well.
And where are you coming from?
Potomac, Maryland.
And you brought your son with you?
Yeah, this is Singh, right?
And why
he
did you
can-
bring your son today?
Just, I think he will learn something, a little civic responsibility.
And why do you think that's important?
I think as he grows, he needs to know that he can make a change and he needs to stand up for what's right. Hopefully, we can make a difference. Hello. Yeah, beta.
My name is Linda Sarsour. I'm the National Advocacy Director at the National Network for Arab American Communities. So the National Network for Arab American Communities supported the Sikh Coalition in garnering signatories from across the country of Arab American and Muslim organizations to ensure that this hearing was representative of all communities who care about expanding legislation and enforcing legislation around hate crimes.
So what's your ultimate goal with this hearing? What are you trying to communicate and what is the desired outcome?
I think the two desired outcomes of the Senate hearing on hate crimes and the threats of domestic extremism is, first of all, to initiate and ignite a discussion, a discourse in our country that's not happening right now. We've been fixated on extremism and radicalization in the Muslim community, and we need to start looking at that in a broader lens, especially in light of the Oak Creek tragedy. The second thing I'd like to see is I would like to see some productivity that comes out of this from the Senate side, which is to enforce the hate crime legislations that currently exist, better reporting, and to ensure that if that's done, it sends a message to the broader American public that hate crimes will not be tolerated in this country, and that our Senate will stand up for all communities and make sure all communities are protected.
And so how long have you been involved with this mission?
I've been doing this work for 10 years. My work focuses predominantly on racial profiling in the context of law enforcement. I've been working with the Sikh Coalition for the past 6 years and with the South Asian Americans leading together, SAALT. And we've been doing this work together specifically around law enforcement accountability and passing IRPA, which is the End Racial Profiling Act. And in light of the Oak Creek tragedy, we came together and sent out this letter to the Senate requesting this hearing just to start that conversation and to do the follow-up to ensure that this hearing is productive and that we actually do get something out of it.
So tell us a little, give us a preview of what we're going to hear today.
So today at the Senate hearing on hate crimes and the threats of domestic extremism, there's going to be two panels. The first panel is going to be a government panel, so it'll include government officials that will be talking about some statistics and kind of their perspective on hate crimes and the threats of domestic extremism. The second panel will be a panel that includes a community speaker, which is a child of one of the victims in Oak Creek, as well as an academic, and then there will be a Republican representative who will be also speaking. Obviously, probably not aligned with our messaging, but this is democracy, so that's okay with us. And a question-answer part where our senators and our congressional members will be able to ask questions of the different panels, just to really create that discussion. And we hope people are watching and are able to join us on social media to talk about anti-hate and what that looks like and how we as a country can live up to our ideals.
And talk a little bit about the coalition building also.
Sometimes through tragedy, particularly since, you want to wait till that
Yeah.
a little bit.
Okay.
Sometimes in light of tragedy, including the events of 9/11.
Wait.
Sorry, yeah. My homie's like,
Garbage time.
yeah, he's also being all slow about it too. That's a pretty loud thing, and he's all the way down the hall.
All right. Here we go. Coalition building.
in light of tragedies, specifically post 9/11, and all the things that South Asians, Arabs, Muslims, communities of color have went through since then, there's been this wonderful, positivity that's come out of that, and it's bringing our communities together: Sikhs, Hindus, Muslims, Arabs, people from across the country, in different regions, people in different sectors, the legal field, nonprofit, grassroots, just come together and have worked specifically on these issues on multiple levels. And when hearings like this happen, we're here all together in solidarity. If there's a rally, if there's a meeting, we stand together, and it's been a very promising, and this is what gives me hope for moving forward and moving our communities forward. And I'm very grateful to know that I have brothers and sisters and allies in the South Asian community, in the African American community, the Latino community, who are here today standing with us at this hearing, but are always there when we need them on every issue that our community is working on.
And what are some other, I just feel like it's such a deep root cause of hate crimes. Hate crimes sort of the outcome of a much deeper thing. Mm-hmm. Do you have any thoughts on that in terms of race in America, or tolerance, or education, or I don't know?
I think everyone knows that we're not post-racism in this country, even though we have a black president. I think hate is from a place that comes deep. It comes from family. It comes from the neighborhoods you grew up, the communities you come from. And I think the only thing that we can do really is continue the advocacy work that we're doing, but also the person-to-person relationships. And I think for many people, like, I've never had a Sikh friend before ever in my life until I met Amardeep from the Sikh Coalition, and now I consider him to be my brother. So the fact that I was able to make this personal relationship, and I think more than 60% of Americans say they've never met a Muslim before. And just imagine if people extended their hands to their Muslim neighbors or their South Asian neighbors and invited them over for dinner, and seeing that there's so much commonality between us Americans living in this country, the types of things and activities we like to do, and people become friends. And I think that's what's going to help us. And also getting the Department of Education to ensure that there are curriculums on Sikhs and on Islam, and understanding who are these people that live in your community, I think is going to be really important. And it's happening on a small scale, but we'll continue to work and make sure that it becomes something uniform in our education system.
Good job. Very good job.
That's not fair. As soon as we walked in, you...
Okay, my name is Floyd Mori, and I'm with the Japanese American Citizens League, or JACL.
And how is JACL connected to the event today?
Well, as you go back in the history of our country, particularly World War II, Japanese Americans experienced a high degree of discrimination and hate and violence. And so we are very concerned when this happens to any group of people, particularly because of either race, religion, or whatever it might be that distinguishes them from other people. So we are very strong supporters of hate crimes, strong hate crimes bills, and beginning with the hate crimes bill that passed a couple of years ago, we've been working for many, many years to strengthen hate crimes.
And can you talk about the Japanese American community and its development in this? How, because it's been, over 50 years since the internment and World War II, and how has the community evolved in dealing with these issues, I guess?
Well, as you state, Japanese Americans are now in their 5th and 6th generation. And so being here as long as we have, there's been a degree of assimilation. There's a long history, the World War II history of our veterans and the things we had to go through in the concentration camps are becoming more well known. And I think our experience and the problems that it created relative to civil rights and the Constitution itself, I think we can speak very strongly about how it can affect a community and how it can affect for a long time people's self-respect and their position as full-time citizens in this country. So Japanese Americans have gone through the experience, and we still continue to have a kind of experience where people think that we're still foreigners. Down to the community level, Japanese Americans have assimilated and got involved in the community, but still we get the comment, you speak English very well, where did you come from type. So a lot of people still, I'd say the majority of people still cannot distinguish between a foreigner and somebody that may not look like the Anglo-Saxon American that people think about.
Okay, so what are your ideal outcomes for the hearing today?
Well, I think that as people develop a better understanding of who people are, what they stand for, what their values are, I think we find that we're more similar than dissimilar. And particularly in the atmosphere since 9/11, people have just stereotyped it. People have not really understood what an Arab American or a Sikh American really is and what their values are. And I hope this hearing allows us to understand that they're Americans with the same kinds of feelings and aspirations and values that all Americans have. And so it's a matter of understanding. It's a matter of tolerance that we need to promote here with this hearing.
Interesting. I was just watching something about the Nazi POWs in Alabama.
Oh.
And so it was interesting that this particular shooting was a neo-Nazi shooter. And yet, there's such a long history in America, do you see a deeper solution, I guess?
Making crimes like this a hate crime and enhance it as a hate crime, I think, is very important. So people understand that we don't tolerate hate in the United States. But we have this fringe of people in this country that are full of hate, and this hate promotes fear and misunderstanding. And as a result, some of these, I would say, crazy people take to heart what is being said and take the law and lives into their own hands, which is very, very unfortunate. So I think we need to temper what we say, what we do. Even if we disagree with somebody, we have to understand that humans are humans, and we need to understand what they are and who they are.
Okay, thank you.
My name is Hardayal Singh. I'm the National Director for International Civil Human Rights Advocacy for United Sikhs. And as you know, we are here for the Senator Durbin's hearing on hate crime and domestic extremism, or we also might call it terrorism. And today is a great day because all organizations that believe that hate crimes need to be addressed, specifically in the case of the Sikh community, when you try to report hate crimes to the FBI and other locations, there's no separate category for the Sikhs to be documented as. It's very crucial that the Sikhs get their analogous documented separately so that they are represented, all over equally when such distribution is made in terms of education material, in terms of, any other grants that are specifically laid out to educate the people. The Sikh community should not be left out. So we are very glad that all organizations from all communities are here together today to voice this concern. Specifically, what's happened in Wisconsin, the killings have actually acted like a catalyst to speed all this up. I mean, it's very shameful, though, that it required sacrifices of 6 people to make this happen, but that's the truth, and no one can deny this fact. So we are here with everyone to say that the Sikhs need to be documented separately, not only on the FBI forms for hate crime, but also on the census issue. Even in the census, Sikhs are not categorized separately. They are classified as other or under the Asian community. And after 9/11 specifically, if you notice that the hate crimes or the attacks that have taken place, Sikhs have been targeted specifically for how they appear or how they look like. So again, once again, we're thankful to everybody, specifically to SAALT, that's helped to organize this event and has got everyone together, and looking forward for the hearings and for a hopeful positive outcome and change. Thank you.
Okay. What do you think about root causes? Because hate crimes are like the outcome of a bigger problem.
Yes,
Do you have any
it's
comments on that?
yes, it's primarily after 9/11. If you see, the media specifically has played a great role in highlighting what the issues are, specifically the war with Afghanistan, the Taliban issue, and others. Unfortunately, the media, and including our newspapers and TV and everything else, forgot to segregate the fact that people who wear turbans and have beards are not necessarily all Taliban. There are Sikhs, who also wear turbans or the star or have their beard, and they belong to a separate race or separate community or separate religion and separate ethnicity. So it's very important that this segregation wasn't done. So this lack of knowledge of who these people are results in a kind of a fear amongst the people who don't know who this